يتما دي ستما غصد سيون سبراك غادي كاين الكامب سكرنت غيد السكان الأصليين كندا لي زانديجين لي زابوريجينو السكان الأصليين ذكريات تقاتين كرنت روام الزكلين اللي غادي موت نحكي كندا حل تقريبا وفانية المقبرة جماعية وعندنا فاس نسكر الميموريال هاد كيس الصباط مدريت مزكنين رلمي كاريات السكان الأصليين غيد كرو غادا نسقساك راه سقسين. Hello Crow, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. So I talked to you like a few hours ago.
Yeah.
And can you give us an idea what's happening? What's the story of these shoes and what's happening?
Well,
here?
I guess the first thing you have to know is that when Europeans came here, and then they, I'm not sure when it started, but maybe the beginning of the 1900s or even before in the 1800s, they decided that they were going to start putting all the children into these schools called residential schools.
Yeah.
And the schools, they were intended to, they weren't allowed to speak their own languages there.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to practice their own culture. They kept the boys and the girls separate. They wouldn't let them be with their siblings or anything. And there was an awful lot of abuse there. There was all kinds of abuse. They were bad, just the idea of them, that you should take away a people's language and culture and spirituality.
And who's taking them away? Is it the government?
So it was interesting because in Canada it was a bit different in the States. In Canada there was a partnership between the church and the government. So the church was able to supply cheap labor, and also the indoctrination, and the government was able to supply police enforcement and also the policy and the laws that made it something that was going to happen. So people had to send their children. If they didn't, they would be starved, or else they would be imprisoned.
So they forced people to give their kids away.
They forced them, yeah. And so there are stories of people hiding their children, finding ways to hide their children.
And what's
away.
the purpose of taking the kids? You like
well,
to civilize them, to give them...
They said that we were, I don't know, they said we were savages.
Oh.
And so they took our children and they wanted to make them white, basically. They wanted to make them be, you know, look native, but they're white in every way. And of course there were all kinds of abuses, but even that idea of taking their culture and everything away, and taking them away from their families, you know, while they were there, so many abuses happened. Many of the children died. A lot of the children died. And although we knew this was happening, we had heard the stories that there were children dying in those places. And in the report that the government did about maybe 10 years ago, it said, you know, that they know that there are going to be some bodies buried in these schools. Mm-hmm. And so some time ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, they found 215 bodies in a mass grave.
In BC?
In BC at Kamloops. This is one of those schools. But that's just one school. And in that school, they only searched 2 acres. The school grounds were 160 acres. So they only did 2 of 160. So they're going through, it was 215, now it's up to 3,200 and something. And we expect it surely will go much, much higher. So I guess that's what that is. So that, I mean, now Canada can't deny that this thing happened.
Because just a few years ago, the government apologized to the natives.
They did, yeah.
And do you think that what just happened now to these kids contradicts all these theories?
Well, they did apologize, but you know, there's even today they're taking children away from their parents, but they do it through child welfare. So you know, they take many children are taken right from the hospital, but so many children are in care. In fact, more children are now in foster care, in homes, in private homes, and many of them get abused and bad things happen to them as well. So it's something that Canada has been doing, has been fighting against Indigenous people here through the children. So through the children, some of them didn't make it out, like these ones. They didn't make it out of those schools. But even the ones who did, they've been so broken. They were abused and they were so broken, and then they had to come out and they went through the same thing, but maybe they survived.
Oh, I see.
You know, there were many reasons that they could have died. It could have been starvation. It could have been sickness that wasn't treated. They could have been killed, just killed.
Yeah, and I also heard that there are a lot of special reserves for natives.
Yes.
Do you think that these reserves are like a privilege for natives, or
definitely not?
It's like camps.
The thing is that the way we lived before was it's all here. You know, you don't own the land in our way. The land is just here. You know, you have territory. You know, you can see the squirrels will fight with that squirrel about this is ours, this is yours. But
like
it was everything was free. It wasn't you didn't. And so these reserves they're almost like
prisons.
Yes, I would say prisoner of war camps. You know,
okay.
And in fact, not too long ago, people had to get special permission to leave the reserves. They weren't even allowed to leave it. Now you can leave, but I mean they're just small little, just tiny little pieces of the old territory. You know.
So it's like a modern way of marginalizing.
Definitely marginalizing.
These groups of people.
Yeah.
And I also heard that there are a lot of, they give a lot of privileges to natives.
A lot of them have no water. Like, I mean, they might have water, but it might be you have to boil it first. Some of it it says don't even drink it, don't even touch, like don't consume it. You know.
And these are like the first inhabitants of this country.
Yes. Also, a lot of the places that don't have clean water are in places where there's a lot of gold and a lot of diamonds and other minerals. So if you don't give people water, they might be inclined to leave, and that would be great.
It's like a tactic to force people.
Yes, because I mean, if Canada has one thing, it's fresh, clean water, and yet so many Indigenous communities have no clean water. Yeah. So we're here. We have this sacred fire.
Yeah.
Now, sacred fire is something that we would do for any kind of high ceremony, you know, and including if somebody dies. So now, each one of these children, their parents didn't even know that they had died. They never knew what happened to them, and so there was no ceremony for these kids. So we're here to do ceremony for them, you know, and usually it would be 4 days for a sacred fire when somebody passes, but there's 3,200 so far, and there's going to be many more.
And I feel like, you said it's an ongoing fire.
It's ongoing, day and night, day and night, and so we have to, we're here, we have to keep it safe, keep it sacred, and you know, and people will come. What happened here, almost every Indigenous family in Canada has been impacted by this in some way.
Really?
So you get impacted by maybe you lost somebody, or maybe you know, your parents came out and they had problems because of everything that happened to them, and the schools are not okay after that, and then those problems come out, and so we all get impacted. When the news comes out about these children, then it opens up all the trauma that the community has been through. So part of this is allowing the community, you know, having a space where people can come and sit and just pray or think or whatever, you know, and work through the things that they're going through right now. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Crow, for your time.
Yeah, and my greetings to your people. Yes.
Thank you very much. As an Indigenous person from North Africa,
yes, the horse people.
I'm going to share your story with my people.
Yeah.
And they will definitely send you some love and some prayers to all the victims of what just happened.
Yeah.
And your fight is an extension of our fight as well, and the fight of all the Indigenous people in the world.
It is, yeah.
Peace and love.
We need to bring a brand new world for all of the people of the world.
Sure, I hear you.
The children, eh? And
Thank you very much.
Children. Yes.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.
Greetings to, who is it?
Berbers.
The Berber people of Africa.
Thank you very much.
Greetings,
I appreciate
and peace, blessing, and love.
Thanks a lot, Crow. Thank you.
Okay.